Good afternoon. Hey, it's Sunday. I'm expecting most of you are out enjoying the day, but hopefully, as my phone slips off to the side, hopefully some of you will get a chance to view this later. So, tomorrow's my birthday, and I received the most beautiful insight that I wanted to share as my gift to you. Something so profound, but yet so simple. We tend to get caught up in the mind, again, really expounding upon what I was talking about yesterday. When we can tap into where our mind goes and really become friends with it, we really need to become allies with this craziness and what we consider the saneness, because they're different polarities of each other. It's the push and the pull, it's the good and the bad, but here's where the key is: finding the neutral point between the balance and harmony that exists within you. We too often want to go outside of ourselves and find happiness and joy and bliss. We're not going to find it outside of ourselves. We have to go within. There is no other way. We can avoid it all we want, but until we can sit with ourselves, we're going to continue to have the same experiences, the same suffering, the same pain, and even sometimes the same joy, of course, because ebbs and flows. We're going to have both. We're expected to. That's the balance of nature. We can't have one without the other. We live in a life full of contrasts. We can't appreciate the good because we haven't experienced the bad, and vice versa. So, if you can see that, then you can understand maybe that when you come into harmony and balance, there really is no good, there is no bad, it just is. And the judgment of it being good or bad starts in the mind and the ego wanting to give it a label based on perceived experiences of your own personal past, your beliefs. Everything you have dealt with is what you use to project and judge, compare, and see in the world. When you can see that, and you can heal those pasts in the sense that you look back no longer triggered by something, you can sit with it and go, wow, okay, I see where the lesson and the beauty was in that experience. And it's just a part of my past. It just is what it is. I no longer hold the attachment to it. I no longer get emotionally triggered. Because when we become emotional, it's because our ego has stepped in. It's in the mind. This isn't coming from the heart. Though you have to understand that the body reacts to the mind. As above, so below. So whatever the mind is conjuring up as a story, your body is reacting, responding, listening. And you can't deny it, because even the subtlest experience of joy, you get your body, you feel your physiology change. And then something that enrages you, you start feeling flush and heated up, and everything seizes and your breath stops. In either case scenario, it's an emotion. And something beautiful was brought to my attention today when I went to sit and listen to Guru Dev, Yogi Amrit Desai. He was discussing how when the mind is engaged in these stories, when you're stuck in the mind, that's when it activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is where the fight or flight, the joy or excitement, the high emotional states begin in the mind. And as a result, the body reacts with the parasympathetic system. What that does is it tries to calm you. It tries to find that special state that will make it bring back to the joy, right? There's another one that is rarely talked about, and it's called the enteric nervous system. And what we don't talk about with the enteric is that's what's responsible for your second brain, which resides in your gut. And to me, because the Holy Trinity, mind, body, soul, the three work together. In order to achieve total harmony in your life, all three have to be in accord. The mind has to work with the body in a unified, cohesive manner, not to be in destruction mode. And the soul has to be part of that. You can't live without a soul. It's why you're here. And the soul wants to have these experiences, but we rarely listen to it. So how often have you said, "Oh my gosh, I had this strange feeling in my gut. I had this gut reaction." That's really your heart and soul, if you really sit down with it, trying to guide you. And your body will tell you every time, because your body is the language that reacts and responds to what is truly going on in you, whether mental or from a soul level. Which is why it is so important to really tap into the wisdom of your body. I do believe we come into this life with a soul contract, with an idea of what we're already going to experience in this life. And it's not good or bad. It's just experiences that your soul has already determined it wants to have. Somewhere along the line, this is the deep insight I had this morning when I was sitting in my meditation in deep bliss. I realized there was a moment when I was just observing, I was just witnessing what was going on, but not participating, which is what the mind continues to do. And the ego gets involved. It wants to interact. It wants to be the controlling force behind everything you do. It wants to think it has control. It's protecting you is how it justifies it. And you can say it validates because of your past experience, because that's all it's basing it on. Any story that comes up in your mind is, again, a comparison, and it's hinging on every experience you've had in the past. So in this moment where I got to sit with myself, there was no having to do or interact with the thoughts. A thought came in, it slipped away. At the same time, there was a moment when something occurred that was, to me, uncanny. It's one of those things where you go, that was cool. I had the thought and it manifested physically. Something happened at that moment. It was then that I recognized, if I could stay away from trying to control with my thoughts what I wanted to experience through this perceived story that would run through my mind, my life will unfold as my soul has determined. Now, that may sound a little funny to some people because you're not used to saying, "Oh, my soul is running the show." And it sounds so wishy-washy and like you're just giving up control of your life and that there's this real stuff going on in the world and I need to deal with and da-da-da-da-da. Again, another story the mind gets caught up in. But you have to understand, your suffering, it all relates to the attachment of where the mind goes when it wants to be in control. And you can't turn around and live in harmony with inner conflict. And the conflict in your mind is self-created. When you make a choice, any choice, you are creating conflict. You're creating the polarities. This is good or this is bad. You're going to experience something based on your present moment, and it's always based on your past, your behaviors, your experiences, and what point you're at in this moment. So again, we go back to being in the present. You can't have harmony and be stuck in the past or stuck in the future, the what ifs, the what has been, the fears. You can't do it. It just, the inner conflict is what has to be set with. You have to be right with where you're at. And when you can sit with it, have compassion with it, don't react to it, don't interact with it. You watch it. Allow it. It's part of life. The only reason we have suffering again is because we put emotional attachment to it, and it's starting here. The body's the second to respond, because this stuff is what causes what's going on in your physical body. How do you find balance and harmony? It takes a lot of work, and it does take meditation. It does take going within, because the more you go within, the less you go without. You can't have the external stuff jiving with you. And like they say, if you want to change the world, you have to start with yourself. I haven't always been like this. I was very obsessive controlling in my life, so everything had to be a certain way, and I suffered. There's no doubt in my mind. I can look back, I can tell you tons of stories, but those are stories. And if I can't see the blessings in the lessons, I've lost the whole experience. So one reminder that Gurudev brought up today was, in order to create and co-create your future, you have to be present in this moment. And this is what it was telling me when I was in my meditation this morning. Being present at this moment in time, being okay with what is and not trying to jump into the future of what you need to do or where you need to be or how things need to be in your life, or in the past with the stories of how you wish things were a certain way. In any form outside of the present moment, you're taking away that energy. You're fixating and focusing elsewhere where you have no control anyway. But to sit in the moment and to really be good with what is and connecting with your heart and soul and saying, you know what? You have a bigger plan for me. And I'm allowing you to guide me. And it goes against everything your mind has tried to tell you and warn you against in your life. But you can turn that around and allow that mind to become part of the positive focus. Allow it to become the observer again. Not this crazy, I need to be engaged with everything that's going on. Because all it's doing is seeking pleasure. And if you can't be in pleasure in the moment, you're not going to get pleasure out of the other moments that come as time goes on. So I hope this is helping. If anybody has questions or if it sounds a little out of the ordinary or what have you, please type down there, give me some feedback. I really feel blessed because I get to share this with you, and I'm grateful for those of you listening, because there's always going to be someone who will get something from what I share. And for that, I say thank you. Many blessings. I am teaching yoga tomorrow at noon. Come join me at Yoga Village. From noon to 1, it's a gong meditation. And again on Thursday. And on Sunday of next week, a week from today, I will be having a body awareness workshop. So for those of you who want to tap into your body's wisdom, you need to feel it to heal it, come join me on Sunday at Yoga Village. You can check the website. I believe the time is at 1:30 to 3:30. And have an amazing day. And really try to be present in the moment. And see the gift that it brings you. Lots of love. Bye.